A few words before we get into business. I'd like to thank all of our speakers who participated in last week's public comments hearings about the waive rules we'll be voting on today. We take public comments very seriously at this agency. They are critical to our rulemaking process. Last week, many medallion owners raised concerns about the potential financial difficulties that the federal court order requiring 100% of all new taxi hackups to be wheelchair accessible would place on them. We heard you. In response, we have added a one-time 6-month retirement extension for owners of a single medallion who can demonstrate a real hardship when it comes to hacking up wheelchair accessible vehicles. I need to stress that this is not a get out of waive free card. Anyone requesting an extension will be rigorously vetted. We are absolutely committed to increasing accessibility, and we are under a federal court order to institute 100% of wheelchair accessible vehicle hackups until 50% of the active fleet is wheelchair accessible. We are required by law to make that a reality by March 31st, 2025. The order also requires that the entire fleet be wheelchair accessible by 2028. It's a stark decision that comes at a hard time for the medallion industry. We fought in court for more flexibility. We argue that such a ruling would be placed yet another burden on an industry that is still recovering from the incredible disruptions caused by the advent of rideshares, the medallion crisis, and the global pandemic. As the industry is still struggling to recover from all of this, we pointed out that thanks to the TLC rules, there is now unprecedented accessibility for those requiring wheelchair accessible vehicles to get them at the push of a cell phone button from the for-hire vehicle sector, 90% of them within 10 minutes or less. The vast majority of those requiring wheelchair accessible vehicles already use FHVs. When you factor that in, we are the most wheelchair accessible city in America. When it comes to getting the vehicle you need, we're getting more accessible by the day. We argued that the spirit of the law is being satisfied and that this hard-hit medallion industry just needs a little bit more time to reach the letter of the agreement. We argue all this, and those arguments went unheeded. We lost. That said, make no mistake, this is an agency that follows the letter of the court order. We are 100% committed to following Judge Daniels' ruling. The people requiring the ability to hail a wheelchair accessible taxi have the right to the same access as everyone else, period. They have rightfully fought for wheelchair accessible taxis for years. The TLC has always supported accessibility. It is a core part of our mission, and we're committed to honoring that right and the federal court order. As I also mentioned last week, we're looking at ways to offset the cost of implementing the court order, and we'll soon be introducing the amendments to increase the upfront taxi improvement fund grants to help get our medallion owners into a better position to meet the requirements. Stay tuned for those. And I also want to just make a quick correction that it's 50% of the authorized fleet by 2028 and not the entire fleet. Okay.
Commissioners, we will now turn to item 5A on the agenda, the 100% wheelchair accessible vehicles for taxis rule proposal package. The proposed rules were published in the City Record on September 10th, 2024 for public comment. A public hearing was held by the TLC on October 10th. On October 11th, the final version of the proposed rule was posted on our website and circulated to the commissioners, along with the hearing transcript and all written comments that were received. Commissioners, may we move for a vote? All those in favor of adopting the rule as amended, please raise your hand. The rule is adopted unanimously. Commissioners, we will now turn to item 5B on the agenda, the statement of substantial need for earlier implementation of the rule you just adopted. This will allow us to waive the 30-day period normally provided for between a rule's promulgation and the time it goes into effect. Commissioners, may we move for a vote? All those in favor of adopting the need for earlier implementation, please raise your hand. The proposal is adopted unanimously. Thank you. Commissioner Doe, any additional business?
Are there any comments from the dais from any of our commissioners? All right. Well, first and foremost, thank you everyone for being here today. This was a difficult vote, but a vote that was needed because of a court order that was agreed upon a decade ago. This is not something that we took lightly, but something that we had to do. But like I have said to many of our advocates, that we will continue to work to structure our funding so that it makes it easier for many of our drivers to get a wheelchair accessible vehicle. And we will continue to look for federal and state grants to help ease that transition. And at this point, the time is now 10:13, and I will conclude this meeting. Thank you.